Shall we? Hello and welcome everyone. I am Jatin Verma. So here we are with the daily news analysis for 2nd of October 2019. So these are the important news articles for today. Green energy target lacks deadline. Flood in many parts of Bihar, Uttar Pradesh. And then Trinamool MP moves High Court bats for online privacy. So we are going to analyze this one and this one primarily. And then this fourth one, fast track courts in Tripura to try POCSO cases. So we are going to lay this threadbare. We are going to analyze this. How fast are these fast track courts? Fast track courts are a way to bring about the fast paced justice, but we need to check after 3 or 4 years of operationalization of these fast track courts, especially for POCSO cases, how are these fast track courts doing? Do we have enough number of judges? Do we have enough number of prosecution officers? Do we have proper investigation in place so as to have these fast track courts really working in fast manner? Now, water supply hit after high levels of ammonia found in Yamuna. And then this one, Supreme Court verdict diluting SC/ST Atrocities Act. So we are going to check the background of this one as well. So let's begin with it. First of all, these are the MCQs, multiple choice questions for you, framed out of the Hindu of the previous day, that is 1st of October. So with reference to School Education Quality Index recently released by Niti Aayog, consider these following statements. High incremental performance was recorded in the state of Karnataka or not? Then the index consists of 34 indicators while deciding the ranking, and then the highest weightage is given to infrastructure and facility or not. So you have to choose the correct option. Likewise, we have got 6 more questions for you. So you need to attempt these questions to check your attentiveness while listening to these lectures. Now coming here, question number 3 is there likewise on the gross fiscal deficit. Then question number 4, India has 5th global position for overall installed renewable energy capacity and 4th position for wind power. These kind of statements you get in the prelims exam as well. So India is the world's 4th largest emitter of greenhouse gases in the world. Prime Minister said that India's renewable energy target will be increased to 450 gigawatt. Then 4th one, a coalition for disaster resilient infrastructure is platformed with Sweden and other countries to work together to develop low carbon pathways for industry. Again, which of the given statements above is or are correct or incorrect? Right, now coming here, this is the explanation to this. You can read it for your own knowledge and to check your thoroughness with regard to reading of the topics here. Now coming to this question, another question, question number 5, consider the following statements about protection of children from Sexual Offences Act 2012. The definition of a child in the POCSO Act 2012 is the same as 1989 United Nations Convention on the Child Rights. Then second statement, pornography is not yet considered as a sexual abuse under the Act. Third statement says it considers sexual assaults to be aggravated when the abuse is committed by a person in a position of trust or authority. Let me add a piece of information over here. Police personnel and the the personnel manning the juvenile justice courts and juvenile child care homes, etc. So they are treated as the people in the position of trust. If they in any which way perpetrate this kind of a crime against child, there would be aggravated punishment for them. According to the Act, statement 4 says, according to the Act, the special court set under POCSO is to complete the trial within a period of 6 months. So which of the given statements above is or are incorrect? So you have to pay enough attention to this as well. Now coming here to the explanation part, you can read the explanation again. The answer is B. So question number 6 here, recently about 13% high level of ammonia was found in the Yamuna water supplied by Haryana. In this regard, consider the following statements about ammonia. So ammonia is a colorless and odorless gas. It is heavier than air, its density being 1.5 times that of air. The kidneys secrete ammonia in the body. Then ammonia even at diluted concentrations is highly toxic to aquatic animals. Now this is the answer to this. Now let's turn to these topics now. Green energy target lacks deadline. Now Hindu has done the critical analysis of it. Hindu has exposed the statement, the goal that the Prime Minister is aiming at. Prime Minister Modi declaring that India would be aiming to increase its renewable target to 175 gigawatt in 2022 and to further increase it to 450 gigawatts. But Union Ministry officials, they say that there was not yet a deadline for when this target would be achieved. So again, this seems like the demonetization kind of a declaration by the Prime Minister as to how are we going to go about it. Would we be able to achieve this target, or will we be seeking another deadline? Like in this case, the goal was to eliminate the use of single-use plastic by 2nd of October 2019, as was decided on 2nd of October 2014 under Swachh Bharat Mission. But there would be no ban, as the government has said now, there would be no ban on the single-use plastic as of now. The government has clarified. States have been told which objects constitute single-use plastic. The PET bottles, the milk package, Amul milk or mother dairy, etc. So they contain single-use plastic, and states have been asked to commit themselves to eliminating these use of these single-use plastic items. Several states already have the rules in place to eliminate the use of, to restrict their use at least. And then Intergovernmental Panel on Climate Change is preparing the 6th assessment report. More than 200 experts from 65 countries, 12 are from India, are to start preparing a first draft of the report. So there's so much for the Prime Minister's statement here. Now floods in many parts of Bihar, Uttar Pradesh. So after 70 odd years of independence, we are still struggling with Kosi of Bihar and Ganga in Uttar Pradesh. So are we so weak that we cannot control our river, that we cannot channelize our rivers for exploiting them in a better way towards the dams and towards generation of electricity? So this is the every time story of India. 25, 35 dying in different states of our country. The weather department has forecast a long delayed withdrawal of monsoon and more rains for Patna, where several rain areas they still remain submerged due to heavy rainfall. India recorded its highest rainfall since 1994. Now coming to this, this was more of a factual news. Member of Parliament from Trinamool Congress in West Bengal moves the High Court. He has appealed the High Court. He is batting for online privacy. Now, Member of Parliamentary Standing Committee on Information and Technology in the Parliament has approached Madras High Court battling for online privacy. Now, against the steps taken for decryption, he has approached Madras High Court also for battling the online privacy and against the steps taken for decryption of online communications in the absence of a robust statutory regime. While the government is debating about data privacy law and data privacy authority, this regime is not there in place. So he is urging the court to she is urging the court to allow her to be included as one of the respondents to a PIL petition filed for linking social media and email accounts with some government identity proof. The MP said such a measure has to await the enactment of the Personal Data Protection Bill, otherwise we would end up doing the same mistake as we did in the case of Aadhaar enrollments. There was no statutory backing for Aadhaar enrollments of the people by the government of India, but it was going on rampantly without any legislative sanction for the same. Now here, she said she was concerned about the levels of access which social media companies currently have to her data and the impact of such access upon her right to privacy. Now let me tell you that right to privacy was declared as a fundamental right in the month of August 2017 by the Supreme Court of India. Right to privacy is not directly mentioned, it is not explicitly mentioned anywhere in the Constitution of India. It has been read into Article 21 by the Supreme Court of India. Now, the MP was also concerned over the extent to which they would further impinge on her right to privacy when they are required to link her identity proof. Now, coming here, Highlights of the draft Personal Data Protection Bill. We have incorporated this for your analysis. Bill regulates the processing of personal data of individuals by government and private entities incorporated in India and abroad. Processing is allowed if the individual gives consent. So without consent, the processing of data, the collating and compiling of data is not allowed in India as per the draft bill. But we don't know as to when would this bill be passed by the Parliament of India. It all depends upon the will of the Parliament, as we have seen in cases like GST, Triple Talaq. The bills have been passed at a very fast pace. But in this case, the bill has been lingering on for at least 1.5 years now. After the Supreme Court's judgment in 2017 August, the bill has not yet seen the light of the day. Now, the data principal. Who is a data principal? If it is my data, then I am data principal. Data principal has several rights with respect to their data, such as seeking correction or seeking access to their data, which is stored with the fiduciary. The fiduciary has certain obligations towards the individual while processing their data, such as notifying them of the nature and purposes of data processing. So, fiduciary, the person who is holding my data in any capacity whatsoever, be it Facebook, WhatsApp, YouTube, or any other social media platform like Twitter, they have to take my permission before processing my data. So, the clauses are very foresighted, but then the bill is getting delayed. The bill allows exemption for certain kinds of data processing, such as processing in the interest of national security, for legal proceedings, or for journalistic purposes. The bill requires that a serving copy of personal data be stored within the territory of India. Certain critical personal data must be stored solely within the country. Then a national level data protection authority is to be set up under the bill. But the moot question is कि ये bill कब pass होगा? Now coming to this, fast track courts in Tripura to try POCSO cases. Tripura government has designated several courts as fast track courts to try pending proceedings under the Protection of Children from Sexual Offences Act. A special court has been set up here and 9 more across the districts have been designated for the purpose. Then 5 such courts have been set up to try cases of crimes against women. Around 350 cases lodged under POCSO Act are awaiting final disposal by the courts. Many cases are as old as 4 years. So how fast are these courts? How special are these courts? Just because the cases are special, we are having special courts for them. But the government and those in authority, they need to understand that what makes a special court are the public prosecutor, the proper investigating team, and then the judges. If judges are not there, what are we talking about? Are we saying that these brick and mortar buildings that we have in every town and city and district of India, are these the only courts that we have? Courtroom is different and court is different. What constitutes a court is a judge, and we are having shortage of around 5,000 judges in India. So when there are these fresh appointment of judges is not commensurate with the retirement of judges, how can we say that that in different laws we are creating these special courts? These special courts, how can we say that they would be any different from the normal courts that India has got, right? Now the complaints in these cases are mainly about sexual abuse and hostility against the children. The state's law and education minister had earlier said that special POCSO court here will be launched in September. Now this is a good news though, but we need to understand that we need to take some more steps as well, like creation of All India Judicial Service under Article 312 of the Constitution of India, so as to have functioning courts. We are not bothered about special courts or fast track courts. What we need is functioning courts in place, and this is having the fast track courts is at best an ad hoc mechanism to deal with the situation. This is not an eternal solution to the problem. This is an ephemeral solution, a temporary gap fill arrangement kind of a thing. Now it will deal with litigations under the West Tripura district limit as well. Now this is factual for you. Coming to this, water supply hit after high levels of ammonia in Yamuna. Water supply in multiple areas in the city was affected as the water production fell by around 13%. after high level of ammonia was found in Yamuna water supplied by Haryana. So additional water, high ammonia levels due to industrial waste being dumped into Yamuna at Panipat has forced Chandrawal and Wazirabad water treatment plants to stop operations. So government needs to take some serious steps regarding the the water scarcity in the NCR region, in the Delhi region, after the Niti Aayog report as well. So we need to take some concerted efforts, because as per Niti Aayog report as well, the groundwater level is going to go is set to deplete, is going to perish away by 2020 in our country. So that is another question here. Now he also said that he has directed the DJB, Delhi Jal Board, to ensure no part of capital goes dry, even if it means diverting water from other plants to Wazirabad. So here we are talking about water plants. I think we need another planet. We need to divert water from other planets towards the planet Earth. The kind of approach we are having in our country, at least towards the water, that is Pani today. Now he said that Haryana has been releasing 1000 cusecs of extra water. The affected areas were getting water at low pressure, but there was no area which went dry, as we had directed the water from other plants to the affected areas. So this is it. Now Supreme Court verdict directing scheduled castes and scheduled tribes anti-atrocities law, diluting. So Supreme Court had given a judgment in the month of March 2018, diluting this affirmative law by the government. This law was passed in 1989. In 1989, this law was passed considering the increasing number of atrocities committed against this section of our society. SCs and STs Prevention of Atrocities Act was diluted by the Supreme Court to grant anticipatory bail to the accused persons, and directed that the police should conduct a preliminary inquiry on whether the complaint under the 1989 law is frivolous or motivated before registering a case. Both these conditions were not a part of the original law as enacted in 1989. What did the amendment seek to do? The amendment by the Supreme Court intended at inserting 3 new clauses after section 18 of the original act, which states that preliminary inquiry is not required. Now in the ordinary course of law, preliminary inquiry is required to be conducted by police before actually arresting a person. We have seen a lot of cases in the recent past, Mr. Lalu Prasad Yadav and P. Chidambaram, these people getting arrested. Before actually arresting them, police had to conduct a preliminary inquiry, and then on the basis of the findings in the preliminary inquiry, police would ask them to question their CBI, or any other police authority would ask them to appear before the authority and to answer the queries of the authority. If they are not able to answer, then police might arrest them. But in this case, in the SC and ST Prevention of Atrocities Act, the police can directly arrest a person who has been accused of committing an atrocity against SC, ST member of any SC, ST community, right? Now, provision of section 438 of CRPC, which deals with anticipatory bail, shall not apply to a case under this act. That means if once a person has been arrested, until the case is finally decided, the person would not get anticipatory bail also. This is more problematic when we consider the state of judicial backlog, the backlog of cases in our judiciary. So that means even if a person is declared as innocent after the conclusion of case after 5 years from the date when the person was arrested, that person would not be released from the jail until the case is decided. Anticipatory bail is granted in anticipation that person might not have committed the crime actually. So these things are there. Now, the Supreme Court condemned its own earlier judgment, saying it was against basic human dignity to treat all SC, ST community members as a liar or crook. So Supreme Court failed to appreciate the fact that Supreme Court had actually relied on this data, that the actual number of cases, only 24 cases are proved. Only out of 100 cases, only 24 cases are proven right, and rest of the cases they fall flat in the judiciary before the judicial magistrate. So Supreme Court had said that just because only 24% of the cases are declared, in these 24% of the cases the people who are accused are declared as convict, finally they are convicted. Okay, so in that case Supreme Court said that these cases are being falsely filed against the members of non SC/ST community to implicate them in the cases in which they should not have been implicated, right? So that's why the Supreme Court said that automatic arrest should not be there. And then Supreme Court also said that apart from automatic arrest, anticipatory bail should be granted to the accused until the final outcome of the case. But Supreme Court failed to appreciate the fact that these SC/ST members, this community people, basically the case might not be proved in the court of law because of lack of proper prosecution. If prosecution is not proper, or if investigation is not proper, then judgment would also not be proper. Supreme Court, secondly, Supreme Court also failed to appreciate the fact that investigation by police officers, the police officers who do the investigation, the ratio of members of SC/ST community is pretty low in policing. The ratio of members of SC/ST community is pretty low in prosecution. The ratio of judges, the ratio of SC/ST members in the judiciary is pretty low in the overall judicial scenario of our country. So in that scenario, if there is a bias against the members of SC/ST community, done. So if there is a bias in the judiciary, then that would lead to bias in the case as well. Thank you.